Morning, brethren. Welcome to another daily devotional. This morning, I want to look at some of the ways in which we can be guilty of breaking the ninth commandment. We looked the other day at reasons why people tell lies and reasons why they break the ninth commandment. Today, we want to see how we can be guilty of breaking this commandment. I want to read from Genesis chapter 27. The context is that Jacob's mother, Rebecca, wants her youngest son, Jacob, to inherit the blessing from his father, Isaac. Isaac is an old man, he's nearly blind, and she doesn't want the inheritance to go to Esau. So she fixes up a plan, she disguises Jacob and tells him he's to go in and speak to his father and to tell his father that he is Esau. So we read in verse 18, so he went into his father and said, "My father." And he said to him, "Who are you, my son?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn." Here is the first way in which we break the ninth commandment, by blatantly stating an untruth. By telling a deliberate, premeditated, planned lie. Isaac was unable to see clearly, and Jacob tells his almost blind father that he is Esau. And he does it in order that he, Jacob, might benefit from the deceit that he is partaking in. Children are very good at telling lies. The child who is asked by his mum, "Did you do that?" And the child immediately says, No, when in fact they know rightly that they were the ones who did it. I have to confess that I was always guilty of telling this lie at school. Very often I would go into class and the teacher would say to me, "Rob, where's your homework?" And I would say, "Sir, I left it at home. I'll bring it in tomorrow," knowing full rightly that I hadn't done the homework, but giving myself another evening in which I could do it and hand it in the next day. I was deliberately telling lies. So this is the first way in which this commandment can be broken. It's so easy to fall into this. For example, someone invites you out to their house for supper and you're not particularly fond of them, don't get on all that well with them at times, and rather than accepting the invitation, you say, "Oh, I'd love to come, but I've something on that night," knowing full well that you have absolutely nothing planned for that evening. You are telling a lie, blatantly and for your own benefit. Another way in which we can tell lies is being economic with the truth. In other words, telling a partial truth when in actual fact we should tell the whole truth. If we were to tell the whole truth, then the situation would look very different. So we are economic with the truth in order to deceive. That's what happened, for example, whenever Abraham went down to Egypt. And he was afraid that because Sarah was good looking, that the king would want to take her as his wife. And in order to do that, he would possibly kill Abraham. And so Abraham says to Sarah, "Whenever we go down here, tell them you're my sister." Now, technically speaking, Sarah was Abraham's sister. In fact, she was his half-sister. So he was sort of telling the truth, but he wasn't telling the whole truth. He was being economic with the truth, and he was being economic with the truth in order to give a wrong impression, in order to deceive, and doing it for his own benefit. And this is another way in which we can be guilty of breaking the ninth commandment, being economical with the truth. There's another way in which we can break this commandment, and that is by exaggeration. I'm not talking about exaggeration for the sake of rhetorical effect. That's used in the Bible. It's called hyperbole. For example, it says the whole of Jerusalem and Judea went out to hear Jesus preaching. That doesn't mean that every single last individual in all of Jerusalem and all throughout Judea. It's just meaning that lots and lots of people went out. So it's exaggeration for the sake of rhetorical effect. But that's different from someone who exaggerates in order to look well in the eyes of others. For example, the fisherman who says that he caught a fish such and such a weight, when in actual fact it was only half that weight. Or the man who says that he went round the golf course in a score of 82, when in actual fact his score was 182. These are some of the ways in which we can break the 9th commandment. There are other ways, of course, and I haven't time to deal with them in our daily devotional. We can break this commandment by slandering someone. We can break it by failing to fulfill our vows. We can break it by gossip. And there's times we can break it by silence, by saying nothing when we should be saying something. So we can see how wide-ranging this command actually is. We are to be men and women of truth, and we are to speak the truth in love. We're to do it wisely. We're to do it in order to honour God. Committing the sin of lying is something that is dishonouring to the God of truth. So, brethren, as you go about your daily responsibilities in work, in school, in your family, wherever you are, whoever you're with, speak the truth. Do not bear false witness. Do not lie, either by direct, premeditated lying, by exaggeration, or by being economic with the truth. May God help us to be men and women of truth. Have a good day, folks.